So there I am, trapped.
You had a girl fight.
Yeah, but they broke my nose, and I'm not happy with that.
This is Judge Judy. 23-year-old Sylvia Marino is suing her stepsisters, 21-year-old Julie Munoz and 18-year-old Clara Munoz, for assaulting her and breaking her nose.
Judge, this is case number 39 on the calendar in the matter of Moreno versus Munoz. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Marino, how long has your father been living with the defendant's mother?
As soon as my mom got pregnant, that's when she got out of the house. So like a month later, that's when their mom moved in, and my sisters are now 6 years old. So I want to say 6 years old.
Okay. And is your father married to the defendant's mother?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Is it also correct that your mom moved in about 6 years ago?
Yes.
Had you known the defendant's mom before they moved in?
Did I know her before she moved in? I'm not too sure. No, I don't think so.
Julie, before your mom moved in with Mr. Moreno, did you know him?
Yes.
How?
He started coming around the house probably 2 months within dating, so 11 years.
Okay. And of Mr. Moreno for 6 years?
No. I recently moved in the end of December of 2019.
Where were you living before?
At a friend's house.
And what about your sister?
She had lived with them for the amount of 6 years.
Is that right?
Yes.
So you lived with your mom when she moved in to Mr. Moreno's house?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you get along with his daughter?
I didn't really see her much around time when I moved in because she lives with her mother and I lived there. So I would probably see them around once every week.
So you've been constantly living there with your mom and with Mr. Moreno?
Yes.
And Miss Marino, she wasn't in the house.
No.
She was living with her mother.
Yes.
Is that right, Miss Marino?
Yes.
Now, you came home to stay with your father when?
July of last year.
Just give me a month and year.
July of last year.
And at that time, Claire was living there?
Yes.
And Julie was not living there because Julie didn't come until December. Is that right, Julie?
Yes.
Yeah, well, she was living there at one point, and then she got kicked out because she was offering her little sister weed and bought her an edible or whatever. So that's why she got kicked out. So recently she moved back in a little after I moved in. I want to say a month after.
Your Honor,
sounds
that's
like
not correct.
Lovely. Okay. So if Julie and Claire got into some sort of a kerfuffle. You got into a kerfuffle on the 30th of July, 2020. So you had been living there for about a year.
Yes.
I'd like you to tell me briefly your version of what happened, because you're suing them both for an assault and for injuries that you sustained. You sustained a broken nose. The defendants are suing you on a counterclaim for falsely filing a protective order on which there was a trial. Yes. On the same incident as this. Is that right?
Correct.
And that trial resulted in the protective order that you filed against the two of them to exclude them from the house being dismissed.
Yeah, it got denied.
Judge heard evidence, heard you, heard the defendants, heard from your boyfriend, and the judge dismissed the case.
Right.
So now you have 2 minutes to tell me what happened, and then I'm going to tell you what the law is. Go.
Okay, so recently we've been having arguments and stuff, but the last one, that's where it got
No,
very
I don't want to
intense.
hear recently. I just want you to stick to July 30th.
I basically got lowered out of my room. I got a text message from Clara saying that I had got a package, and so I responded saying thank you. And so when I got out, I asked her, I was like, hey.
Got out of your room?
Yes. And they were in the living room, both of them. So then I got out, and I was like, hey, so where's the package? They're like, oh, there's no package. I just good.
Who is she?
Clara.
Claire.
Yes. And then she starts assuming that I was stealing her wine and saying that I took it, whatever, and that I had to pay her back and that I owe her the bottle and whatever. And I was like, why I didn't take it. And then, so yeah, we started arguing about that. And then Clara just goes, just go back to your room. Go back to your room. Because she has some type of authority over me. And I'm like, this is my house. I can do whatever I want. And then she's like, hi, it's your house. Okay, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's my house. She starts laughing, starts acting ghetto. I didn't even want to go to the bathroom because I had to pass by them.
Look here. No, just a second. So she told you to go back to the room.
Mm-hmm. And
you said, you can't tell me. I live here. Slowly. And don't look away from me. Look right here. Right in my eyes.
Yes.
Good. So she told you to go back to the room. You said no.
Right.
And
then I was like, well, this is my house.
Try to use no like. Try not to use the word like.
Okay. So I was like, this is my house. I get to do whatever I want. So then I had to use a bathroom. So I had to pass by them to use a bathroom. So I just didn't want to be near her. Like, I just felt very like, because she caught me off guard.
Just
like,
tell me.
And then so I went to the...
Tell me what happened. So you had to go to the bathroom and
then so I went upstairs and then... oh, no, I didn't go to the bathroom. So then I went to the living room because that's where
the living room already.
Yeah. And then she starts acting like all ghetto, saying, I was like, what is it with you guys that you guys, like, why is it that you guys are always messing with me? Like, you guys don't have a life? Like, can you guys just please leave me alone? And then Clara just goes like, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Do something, do something. Like, and then so I was like, I'm not scared of you, I'm not scared of you. So then she starts throwing punches. So then I was defending myself by fighting back.
So just a second. So what you're telling me is Claire punched you?
Yes.
Okay, so she got close enough to you to punch you?
Yeah.
How many times did she punch you and where?
I'm not sure how many times. It was just like, you know, it was just all very fast and on my face. So then at that point, I was very like vulnerable. So Julie got up. She's like, oh, you're not going to hit my little sister? So then she goes the other side.
Oh, just a second. Well, Julie said you're not going to hit my little sister. Had you hit her little sister?
Because I was like defending myself. So that's why she was saying that.
Okay, well, that's not a like. That's a yes. So
yes.
She hit you and then you hit her.
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then Julie came around me, like on my right side, and then she starts like punching me and attacking me on my face. So there I am, you know, trapped, and I was trying to get up, but I couldn't get up because I was basically trapped. I was
trying
down.
to get up. Had you
because I was
just a second. Were you sitting down or did you? So you were sitting down talking to them.
Yes.
So when you were talking to the two of them, you were sitting down.
Yes.
Were they sitting down?
Yes.
So Claire had to have moved.
Yeah.
To punch you.
So she kind of like halfway got up, like halfway stood up, like kind of like.
Enough. Yeah, I'm done. Okay, Claire.
Yes.
3 minutes. Your version of the events of the 30th of July. Go.
So I sent a message saying that she...
To get her out of the room because somebody took your wine.
Yes. So I sent her that message and she was telling me that she didn't do it. And I was like, I knew for a fact that she was lying. So I didn't want to deal with her attitude. So I just said, forget it. Like, all I wanted was the gift back. I didn't care if she drank it. I didn't care if she did anything to it. I just wanted the bottle back itself because it was an expensive gift given to me by my sister. So I let her go, and then she confronted us again, and she sat down about like 2 feet away from me, and she was telling me, what is your problems? Like, you guys always talk to me, like, you guys have so much problems with us. And I immediately got very defensive, and I was like, we did nothing wrong. You're over here always causing problems in the house. I told her to shut up. Like, I didn't want to deal with her problems anymore. So I told her to shut up, go to her room. And she said, you can shut me up. You can't, I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to talk all I want. And I was like, just shut up. Like, and she's like, and I was like, all right. Like, you're not going to do anything about it? Like, you can shut up. And she got up after a while of us telling to shut up. So I got up. She took a step towards me, and I took a step towards her. And I got in her face, telling her, like, to shut up, go to your room. Like, you... I don't know what your problem is. Over time, after the argument, she hit me in my face. And then I started hitting her back. And that was when my sister intervened.
Okay.
And at that point, my boyfriend had split us up.
What?
At that point, my boyfriend had split us up.
Your boyfriend?
Yeah, my witness.
Good. Very good. Now, I don't need your witness because your witness was also there. You filed for a protective order against them. You wanted them excluded from the house, right?
Right. Because that's what I was told by the cops.
Just, okay, what you were told by the cop? It's not your house, it's your father's house.
Right.
You can leave, but which you did. And the girls, you're still living there, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Your father gets to decide who lives in his house and who doesn't.
Judge Judy continues in...
Aren't supposed to know about things like air conditioning and plumbing and heating. You know, that's usually not something girls know about. But I'll tell you what this girl knows about: wine. And I know about people who put air conditioning units in a wine cellar and pass it off as a refrigerant. Do you understand?
Sylvia Marino claims stepsisters Julie and Clara Munoz broke her nose during an assault. The defendants are countersuing for a false restraining order.
The judge heard your case for an order of protection. The order of protection, among other things, in addition to asking them to be removed from the house, which nobody's going to grant,
Right.
it would have said that they cannot assault, menace, threaten, or harass you. The judge heard your evidence by the same burden of proof, if not higher, than the burden of proof that exists in small claims court. And after hearing all the evidence, just like I did, the judge in that case dismissed the case, having heard all of the facts. I can actually understand why. You had a girl fight, and that's what happened. And I assume that your father asked you to leave.
No, that is not correct.
When did you leave the house? This happened on July 30th. On what date?
I left the house on September 1st.
August.
Yes, because I had nowhere to go.
Where did you finally go to?
A room. I was looking, when it happened on July 31st, at that time I was just looking already at a different, room and stuff, because I just couldn't live there.
Okay.
It was just too much.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing for your father. Your father doesn't need aggravation from three girls who clearly don't get along. How old is your father?
Like 44,
Do you know?
45, around there, I believe.
Nice, caring. Okay, I've heard enough. Very nice. You have a nice place to live now? Are you happy in your room?
Well, yeah,
You're
but
happy not being near them?
Yeah, but they broke my nose, and
Yeah.
I'm not happy with that.
Oh, no, I'm not happy with that either. You shouldn't have had a fight with them. I, like the judge who heard this case before, isn't sure who started it. That's why the judge dismissed the application for an order of protection.
Yes, I have.
So, and I'm doing the same. I'm doing the same. We're finished. We're done. Case is over. It's dismissed. So is your counterclaim. Goodbye.
This case is completed. You're excused.
I just feel like this whole thing is so unfair.
It started off a misunderstanding and it ended up leading to anger, and
The owner of the house, which is my dad.
anger that was already built up between her
How's he gonna let this, happen?
between her and then us.
I'm their daughter. They broke my nose. It just can't stay like that.
And I think it was just the amount of...
Chose their mom. He still chose them.
It's not that he chose us over his own daughter.
How can you choose? How can you forget about your daughter?
It's the fact that she came with a lot of problems.
I just wanted justice for myself because he didn't care. He didn't do anything.
I'm ready to put it way behind.
Nothing. I'm already out.
All parties in the matter of Bynum versus McCormick. Step to the podium, please.
Donald Bynum is suing contractor Gary McCormick for the return of a deposit on a wine room he never built.
Mr. Bynum, you had done previous business with Mr. McCormick as a contractor.
That is correct, Your Honor.
What kind of work had Mr. McCormick done for you previously?
My brother and I had a rental home. We hired Gary to refinish the entire insides of the house, essentially, and make it ready.
And you were satisfied?
We were.
And then you decided in your own home to put in a wine cellar.
That's correct.
And that was in June of 2019.
Correct.
And according to what I put together from both the complaint and the answer, you contacted the defendant. He came over and took a look at it, gave you a price, and you gave him some money to start the project.
That is correct. We kind of designed it together, and then he asked for a deposit to order materials.
How much of a deposit did you give him?
$7,300.
And on what?
The check copy, if you'd like to see. It was September 9th of 2019.
Suffice it to say, you don't have a wine cellar.
I do not.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He doesn't have a paid receipt for starting the project or a contract. He has a check. What's
Are you
the total?
crazy,
What's
Mr.
the
McCormick?
total job?
Are you crazy, Mr. McCormick? He has a check that he gave you as a deposit. What kind of stupid defense is that, sir?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Donald Bynum is suing contractor Gary McCormick for the return of a deposit on a wine room he never built.
Mr. McCormick, what did you do in September, October, November, December, January, and February? That's 6 months. You now have his $7,300.
Yes, I do.
Tell me what specifically you did to accomplish creating a wine cellar for the plaintiff.
I didn't get into the attic and look at what we really had to put in there, so I ordered a unit that was pretty standard to what I thought would fit for that room size. And it's a very custom application.
What date did you place an order for this unit?
End of September.
Was it the right unit?
No,
You made a mistake and it was the wrong unit.
yes. So in October, November, I brought a friend over that does air conditioning, and I asked him if he could come over and take a look and get in the attic. I've had some previous health issues with some respiratory problems, so I don't get in attics anymore. He came over. The access was really, really tight. So we changed the unit configuration, and I kind of made it overkill because I knew I did not want a phone call after this was put in that it's not cooling to my satisfaction. So we went way over.
When was the last time, Mr. McCormick, you built or GC'd on a wine cellar?
Oh, it's probably been.
When was the last time?
Probably 10 years.
Yeah, I can tell that, sir, because you don't get somebody who does air conditioning to come in to do a wine cellar.
No, I just brought him in to
Air conditioning people don't make wine cellars. Air conditioning people do air conditioning. There are specialists who do wine cellars. It's a different kind of refrigerant.
Completely different. Yes.
Yes, completely different. So, you know, girls aren't supposed to know about things like, you know, air conditioning and plumbing and heating. You know, that's usually not something girls know about. But I'll tell you what this girl knows about: wine. And I also know about wine cellars. And I know about people who put air conditioning off as a refrigerant. Do you understand?
I would have never done that.
So let's be clear. Let's be clear about that. So this is what you're going to have to prove to me, because now you have his money since September, and you made a mistake in September. You made a mistake in October. You maybe made a mistake in November. You had some health issues, also not his problem and not his fault. Right now, we're in March. He doesn't have a wine cellar, and I don't know how much of the $7,300 you gave him back. How much?
None.
So you had 6 months to get the ball rolling on this and did nothing, as far as I can tell.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Now, do you have a paid invoice for anything that you purchased for his wine cellar?
No, I do not.
Well, then what are your damages, sir?
My damages for the glass and the unit are $9,200.
Just to say, well, I'm asking you, show me that you paid for a unit. You knew today, you're an intelligent man. You knew you were coming to court today. So if you had paid for a unit, you would have brought me a paid bill. You didn't bring it.
I work with these suppliers like I do myself. He doesn't have a paid receipt for starting the project or a contract on the job.
No, he has a check. Of course he has a...
He has a check. What's the total job?
Are you crazy, Mr. McCormick? He has a check that he gave you as a deposit. What kind of stupid defense is that, sir? Now, if you extended yourself and your company to purchase something for his wine cellar prior to his saying, I don't want to do this because it's 6-8 months later and it's not going to get done, I certainly would have sympathy for that. And I would say, listen, if he's got this item that he paid for and that he's got sitting there, you have to go through with this because you don't have a contract that says time is of the essence. So I would assume, sir, that you're full of baloney when you say you paid for anything.
No, I paid for it all.
Mr. McCormick, just show me a paid bill.
I cannot show you.
All right, then you owe him $5,000 because it's the maximum of what I can give him here. We're done. Bad business, Mr. McCormick. Thank you.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, terror on two wheels?
Ooh, zipping right along. That's frightening. The scooter flipped in the air and hit his car.
Next Judge Judy.
I did give him a deadline, and then I said after that deadline,
Or the money.
and I can get another contractor to come finish up, or if you can give me the parts.
So obviously they're backing out of the project.
And he just wouldn't respond.
It's a friendship too. I mean, all my customers are friends, so it's a tough deal.
Well, I did feel like we were friends, but this isn't how you treat a friend.
You decided to put new flooring throughout the house.
To start, I gave him $500 up front.
Workers wanted her to pay in full.
The weekend was coming up.
They told me they would have it done by the weekend, so I gave them $1,300 in cash.
But she was floored when they didn't return.
Who asked the plaintiff for the balance of the money?
Who?
What are you asking me for?
This is Judge Judy. 20-year-old Logan Garinger is suing concrete laborer 20-year-old Colton Wallace for a partial refund of the money he charged her to install the floor in her new home.
This is case number 162 on the calendar in the matter of Geringer versus Wallace. Parties have been sworn in. Gentlemen, have a seat. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Geringer, is this the first house that you bought in 2020?
Yes.
How big a house is it?
I think altogether...
Do you still own it?
Yes, I do. I don't know it off the top of my head, Your Honor.
Who did you buy it from?
My mom was the one that had purchased it, and then I bought it from her.
When did your mother buy it?
I don't know.
When did you buy it from your mother?
I still don't know.
Well, you have to know when you bought the house.
We moved in October.
Who's we?
Me and my roommate. Also my witness. Her name's Lindsay, Your Honor.
How much did you pay for it?
$315,000, Your Honor.
And where is it located?
It's in Garden City, Idaho.
How much is your mortgage?
$1,500 a month.
Good. So far, you're doing fine. I know you didn't expect to being asked these questions, but so far, you're doing okay.
I
Do you
apologize
work?
for not knowing. Yes, I do. I'm a waitress.
And what does your roommate do?
She's a waitress with me as well.
Does she pay you rent?
Yes.
How much?
$600 a month.
Great. So together you managed to support a house and a
Yes.
mortgage and pay taxes?
Yes.
Before you moved into the house, you decided to put new flooring throughout the house. And you were talking to a friend, and the friend said, I have a friend, and together we can, if you want it done cheaper, we can do it for you if you buy the materials. That's what this case is about. This is one of the men who you hired to put in the flooring in the house. The deal was that your dad was going to buy the materials and you would just pay them for labor. You would pay him $1,800 for labor to install the floor. He picked out the flooring?
Yes, I had. Because he was the one that had bought it at first.
Who's he?
My father.
Did you ever tell the defendant that you were buying clip-on flooring, clip-on wood flooring?
I never said that I was buying clip-on flooring, no. I didn't know what type it was,
Do you know
but he knew before he came to the house to do it.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Don't tell me what he knew. Just answer my question. So far, you're doing fine.
Okay.
Did the defendant go with your father to buy the flooring?
No.
Do you know what clip-on flooring is?
No.
Neither do I. What do you do for a living, Mr. Wallace?
I do self-labor. I did concrete and home remodels for the past 4 years.
You do concrete work?
Yeah.
Do you work for yourself or are you freelance?
Currently work for myself, yes.
What kind of concrete work?
Foundations and footings, and we did driveways as well.
Who's we?
The company I used to work for.
What was the last job that you had for yourself?
It was home remodels.
Month and year?
I want to say March 2020.
So that's almost a year ago?
Yeah.
So that's the last time you did concrete work, was almost a year ago. How have you been supporting yourself?
I do jobs. Currently, like what I was doing for her, I make...
You do odd jobs?
Yeah.
Prior to trying to put in her wood floor, I want you to give me the name of the person for whom you installed a wood floor.
Cannon.
Were they referred to you?
It's a friend of mine.
Did you do one room or more than one room for?
I did one room for him.
And how much did you charge him?
$1,100.
Was it a clip-on floor?
Correct.
When was the last time you installed a floor that was not a clip-on floor?
Never.
Never. So when you saw that the plaintiff's father, who has agreed between the two of you, would purchase the material, bought a wood floor that was not a clip-on floor, right?
Yeah.
Did you tell the plaintiff, I don't know how to do this, I only know how to do clip-on floors?
No, Your Honor. So when we got in contact with each other, she said she didn't know.
No. Her father bought the materials, brought it to the house. You look at it. On what day do you remember that her father brought the materials to the house?
It was already there.
What date was that?
It was already, I'm not sure. It was already there before I showed up.
Okay, just a second. On what date did your father bring the materials to the house? If you don't know, we'll ask.
October 14th, Your Honor.
10/14. And that's when you delivered the flooring to your daughter's new home.
Yes.
And you showed up on the 15th of October.
Correct, I think, yes.
Well, what did you do when you looked at this flooring that wasn't clip-on?
I know how to do adhesive flooring. I've never done it. But I mean, it's pretty simple when you look at, how it connects and how it bonds together. So then I didn't look at her and tell her, no, I don't know how to do this.
The plaintiff gave you how much money as a deposit for the whole job, which was $1,800? How much did the plaintiff give you and when?
She gave me $1,500 in cash, and it was...
No. I want you to be very careful with what you tell me.
100%.
Did she give you any money before you started work?
No.
Do you want to tell me in October what you gave him to start work?
Yes, Your Honor. So to start, I gave him $500 up front to go to Home Depot and get any of the supplies that he needed.
Did you give him $500 in cash?
Yes.
Does that sound...
Not really.
Does that sound familiar to you?
I had to buy tools for the adhesive. I had my witness with me, and I was also teaching him how to do flooring. Just had to buy a skill saw and then a tile roller.
Why don't you answer my question? I didn't ask you for a whole long story.
Okay.
All I asked you was, did she give you any money?
Yes.
You said she gave... Well, then just answer the question.
Okay, yeah.
She gave you money to... How much did she give you?
Around $500.
Before you started?
Around $500.
All right. So she gave you $500, and you wanted to show your friend what to do.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you've started the job, and you're supposed to get paid the other $1,300 when you're what? Tell me the word.
When we were finished.
Right. But before you were finished, the weekend was coming up. I want to see if anything rings your bell. Before you finished and the weekend is coming up, who asked the plaintiff for the balance of the money because you needed it?
Who?
Who?
I don't know. Me?
Ask the plaintiff. What are you asking me for? I'm a television personality. Why are you asking me if I gave her money? I didn't. Who asked her for the balance before you were finished? Who asked for the balance before they were finished?
They both said they wanted it for the weekend, so since I thought they were friends...
Second, when you say both, who's both? Somebody had to say, or they both were talking at the same time, both he and the person who I can't see over there? Somebody put a camera on him. Okay. This genius also, were they together when they asked you for the $1,300?
So it started off with Aiden, and then Colton took over everything, so Colton was the one that asked for it for the weekend.
Well, tell me where that conversation took place.
In the kitchen of the house, when there was already progress made. They told me they would have it done by the weekend, so I gave them $1,300 in cash.
So now you were fully paid?
They were fully paid, yes, and I have evidence if you'd like to see it.
I don't need evidence. He doesn't deny it. He started out this case by saying she gave me $1,800 for labor. That's what she gave. That's what he started with. All right. How many rooms did they complete?
No. Your Honor, they completed almost 2 rooms.
Do you have photographs of those 2 rooms?
We
with
have video.
The work that they did?
We have video.
I'd like to see the video. I'd like to see it.
Here we are in the dining room with edging that needs done. Edging that needs done. And they left the hall. We've put a few pieces in. Nothing in here. Nothing in here. In the hall. Some in here, which will have to be ripped up. And nothing.
Okay, so they did 2 rooms. Not completely, but they did 2 rooms. And they did it with your materials. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay. Well, did they not come back? What happened? Now you can tell me what happened.
I had came back, and there was no progress made that Monday. Because
when?
The Monday the following week.
Okay, so they didn't work on the weekend, but they had been paid on Friday.
Yes.
Okay. Monday, nothing got done. And?
So I had texted him, and I was like, are you, like, what's up? I can give you more time if you need it, but I have a dateline that I do need to meet, because in the process of all of this, we were moving all of our stuff out of our old place.
Just okay. Don't go into tributaries. Just stay in the river.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You texted him and said, what's happening? And what did he say?
He didn't answer either of us. And then I had messaged him and I was like, I'm going to take you to court. And he said, okay, take me to court.
And it was not tight. And as a result of the steering wheel jumping around, the truck was swerving like this.
Correct.
Like you are, with bobbing and weaving right now. And would it have been tighter if you had a license?
Logan Geringer claims Colton Wallace never completed installing the floor in her new home. She is suing for a partial refund of the money she paid.
Okay, you texted him and said, what's happening? And what did he say?
And he was just like, I don't know. I don't have anyone to come help work with me right now. Just give me a second. I'll get back to you. Nothing had been done since then. My dad even offered to cut the flooring as long as he would put it down. My dad had just had major back surgery, so he was recovering from that. Otherwise, he would have done it himself. He didn't answer either of us. And then I had messaged him and I was like, hey, I'm just asking for $800 back. I really appreciate the work you did do and the time that you did take to spend, but I'm going to take you to court otherwise if you can't give it back to me. And he said, okay, take me to court. And I have evidence of all of that in a Snapchat
I'd like
text.
to see that.
Okay.
I'd like to see that. Your message to him and his to you.
Okay. So.
Say anything.
Okay.
And what did he say to you? What did he answer you? So you asked him for $800 back.
Yes.
You appreciate the work that you did. Keep going. What an idiot. So you asked him for $800 back, and you thought that that was fair. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
I do, too. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. We're done. Thank you very much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I think it was fairable.
I mean, it couldn't have went better.
I wasn't getting paid enough. I don't work for free.
Halfway through, he said, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done adhesive before.
I guess I don't know what I'm doing, right?
I was like, why did you start it in the first place?
I'll probably stick to concrete.
I will be going with the licensed contractor in the future.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bear versus Piles. Step forward.
Laura Bear is suing her former friend, Matthew Piles, for causing her truck to be impounded when he was caught driving with a suspended license.
Miss Bear, let me see if I understand this. This is your story. Your story, he took it for, you say, a test drive. While he had it on the test drive, the truck was stopped. He had a suspended license. The truck was impounded, and the truck has been sitting in impound, where it has accumulated $8,000 worth of fines or whatever from impound. And you want him to pay you $2,200, despite the fact that, according to you, you agreed to sell him the truck for $1,000, and he was out for a test drive. Mr. Piles, on the other hand, said that he and your brother or brother-in-law...
No, it was her fiance was with me.
They were going out someplace, and they needed to borrow your car. Who wanted to pick up a girlfriend? You?
Yeah. Well, I picked her up on the way to the
listen,
store.
Look at me. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, I wanted to pick up my girlfriend. They said, sure, go and use the truck. You went, use the truck. And according to you, the steering wheel was not tight, right?
Correct.
And would it have been tighter if you had a license?
No, it wouldn't have made a difference.
No one's right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your license was suspended because of DUI.
Right, but my suspension should have been up.
Well, I should have been 5'8".
Judge Judy. Laura Bear says former friend Matthew Piles owes for causing her truck to be impounded. Matthew says the incident is Laura's fault, and he is countersuing for emotional distress.
It wouldn't have made any difference whether had a license or not, because the steering wheel was jumping around, and as a result of the steering wheel jumping around, the truck was swerving like this, right?
Correct.
Like you are, with bobbing and weaving right now. And you got stopped.
Right.
And then they impounded her truck because you were driving with a suspended license.
Correct.
Now, your license was suspended because of DUI.
Right, but my suspension was should have been up.
Well, I should have been 5'8", but I turned out to be 5 feet tall, and that's where I stayed. So that happened on what date, Mr. Piles?
It was back in February. I don't know the exact number.
Do you need a chair to sit down, sir? Are you sure you're able to stand up?
Yeah.
Great. Do you remember the date in February?
Yes, Your Honor, the 17th of February.
Now, your fiancé, were you with him that night?
I'd been with him earlier that day, Your Honor.
Correct, but you weren't with him when he was driving. So now you know that you all know each other, and you know that the truck is now in impound, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why don't you go get it?
I cannot afford it.
Well, not now. Then.
Then? I absolutely couldn't afford it then.
Well, then what prompted you to wake up this morning and say, now this would be a good time for me to go and get thousands of dollars from Mr. Piles?
Because since then, I've not had a vehicle. When he took it, he was going to buy it from me. And he agreed after it was impounded that he was going to pay for it to get out.
I don't believe that at all. However, let us say he borrowed the truck. That's what you say, you borrowed the truck. Because I don't believe her with regard to you were going to buy it. You borrowed it to go pick up your girlfriend. But you were not supposed to be behind the wheel of a truck or any other motor vehicle because you didn't have a license. And the reason her car was impounded was because you didn't have a license. So whose fault is that?
But they couldn't impound her vehicle because my suspension.
Oh, yes, they could. What do you mean they couldn't? I'm telling you they did.
No, she could have gone down there and gotten it straightened out because the car was in her name, and she could have gotten it back out of impound because they can't.
Well, she could have. You know, she could have. As again, I say to you, I could have been 5'8".
But I gave her the $100.
When did you give her $100? February.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, she sort of acknowledges that you gave her the $100 to go and get it out of impound. As a matter of fact, she says that he gave me $100, but she says that you didn't give her the $100 till May.
No, ma'am. No, I gave it to her the next day.
You gave it to her the next day?
You're right.
You sure?
Yes.
I believe you. How's that?
It works.
Is that good?
Yes, ma'am.
Go get the car out of impound. That's what you should have done. Sorry, can't help you. Now, let's deal with your ridiculous counterclaim.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Why don't you, in the few brief minutes that I have remaining in my day, explain to me why you think Miss Bear owes you $2,000?
Because it's her vehicle, and she knows the condition of her vehicle. And for her to allow me to get into the defective steering, drive it with defective steering, and risk my life and everybody else's life that was in the vehicle and around me on the road, I believe that that's the reason for my countersuit, is for her knowingly allowing me to drive.
If the car had crashed and you were dead, I actually... But since you're not and you're here, your case is dismissed.
Okay.
Great. Now, he gave you $100. You should have gotten the car out of impound. Dismissed. Goodbye. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, the judge has no appetite for dishonesty.
You knew you were breaking the law when you were cooking and selling food out of your house. You don't have a love affair with the truth.
Judge Judy.
He hadn't given me money until May.
No, I gave her the money and told her to go get it out of impound.
So it sat in impound. I couldn't afford to pay for it.
Because they can't impound her vehicle for me driving.
Now I'm out of a vehicle.
It's not my vehicle.
Do not let your friends borrow your vehicles.
No, I'm glad it's over with.
Did you see her riding the bike?
I did not see her.
A driver who couldn't care less.
She collided into my bike, and I had to stop my fall before I was hit by a truck. She said, "I'm sorry, but I'm running
against the flow."
You were coming from the opposite direction. In California, it's illegal to drive against traffic.
This is Judge Judy. Bicyclist Kalinda Watts is suing motorist Alyssa Mincher for running into her when Alyssa pulled out of a driveway.
Judges case number 116 on the calendar in the matter of Watts versus Mincher. Parties have been sworn in. Have a seat, ma'am.
Miss Watts, this accident happened about 2 years ago. According to your complaint, you were riding a bicycle to a campus job that you had. Where do you go to school?
I attended Chico State University.
This incident happened on October 17th of 2018. Approximately what time?
Around 7:51 a.m.
So in the daylight?
Yes.
You were riding your bicycle, and it is your claim that the defendant hit you on the bike. You were injured, wore a knee brace, etc. The defendant says the accident was your fault. So let's try to figure it out, and then we'll try to figure out what took you 2 years to get here. You were riding in the street, correct, with traffic?
Yes, well...
You were traveling in the street where cars travel, not on the sidewalk?
Yes, Your Honor.
And were you traveling with traffic or against traffic?
I was riding against traffic. At that time, I didn't know.
I don't care whether you knew it or not.
Okay.
Whether you knew it is not relevant. You live in California. This incident happened in California. In California, it's illegal to drive against traffic. You know that now.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you know that now because, according to, I think what I read, you did at some point consult an attorney.
Yes, Your Honor. I did have an attorney, and he gave it to his assistant, which is my paralegal, who is with me today.
You no longer have that attorney?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And I would suggest to you that one of the reasons you don't have that attorney is because it's very difficult, unless you can show some extraordinary reason, like the defendant was intoxicated, high, texting, doing something that was grossly negligent, that when you're committing an act that is illegal under California law, which is driving against traffic, very hard to prove that somebody else is culpable for an accident. So now you're traveling against traffic. It's almost 8 o'clock in the morning. According to your complaint, you were coming up to a driveway, the driveway of an apartment complex. So you tell me what happened.
Okay. On my way riding to school in the bike path, I saw a car pulling out of the driveway. At first, I had stopped to my bike. She had made a stop, a complete stop. And while I was riding from her right, she was only looking towards the left side, not looking both ways. So I was trying to make eye contact with her while I was riding my bike, also trying to acknowledge her. I was waving and I kept saying, hey, so she knew that I was approaching. And by the time that I was trying to pass her, she collided into my knee and my bike, and I had to stop my fall before I was hit by a truck. I could have been hit by a truck, correction, I'm sorry.
So it sounds to me like she did everything right. She stopped. She came to a complete stop. She was looking to make a right-hand turn.
Yes, Your Honor.
She looked to her left to make sure that there were no cars coming to her left so that she could make a right-hand turn. You were coming from the opposite direction, riding the wrong way, and she didn't see you. If you stopped before the driveway, actually stopped before the driveway, you wouldn't have gotten hit. Am I getting something? Is something not registering with me?
No, Your Honor. You're actually correct. All I knew was I was just trying to acknowledge her so she knew that I was coming towards the bike path.
But clearly, I mean, because she doesn't look like a nut or 8 o'clock in the morning, and she came to a full stop. So you're not suggesting to me, Miss Watts, that you tried to make contact with her. You actually did make contact with her so that she acknowledged that you were there and that you could go, and she accelerated anyway and hit you on purpose. You're not suggesting that to me.
No, Your Honor.
Well, what theory do you have that would suggest to me that she's responsible for this accident? Just because you were on a smaller bike? What's your theory?
No, Your Honor. So,
I mean, you're not a lawyer.
Yes, I am not. The only problem that I had was after she hit me, at that time, I was struck. I didn't know the protocol of, getting people's information or their insurance. All I asked was when after we collided, she looked at me and she said, I'm sorry, but I'm running late for school. And I told her that I was on my way to school as well, the same campus that we attend at the time. And all she did was give me her number She put it in my phone, and there was a witness that was there that pulled over and saw the accident at the time. And she got back in her car, gave me my phone, got back in her car, and she just left. I tried to get in contact with her the next day because I told her I didn't want to file a lawsuit. I was dealing with the physical pain from the handlebars colliding into my rib cage, and I went to the hospital that same day. Just stating about, I just told her once I got in contact with Alyssa at the time, I told her, all I want is for you to just pay for the medical bills. That's it. I didn't want anything else. I didn't want to press charges. When I told my family, they told me it was best that I got her insurance information because that's what you're supposed to do when you get into an accident. So she just kept denying and didn't want to give me her insurance. And I told her, once again, I don't want to sue you. I don't want to press charges. I just want your insurance information because that's the protocol that we're supposed to do, and that's what my family requested. She hung up in my face. Yeah. I kept calling her. She did not answer and was ignoring my calls. I sent her a text message that on the 19th, just reinstating that I didn't want to sue or do anything. All I wanted was her insurance information. And she still never responded.
What did you want? Just a second. Just a second. She should have given you her insurance information, except the accident was your fault. I mean, protocol was she should have given you her insurance. But according to what you told me, Miss Watts, according to your testimony and what I read in the complaint, the accident was your fault. You were driving illegally on the wrong side of the street. She came to a full stop at her side of the street, and as you said, the two of you collided. Now, let us assume that you were not hurt and you didn't have sore ribs and you didn't have a sore knee for a few weeks. Let's say you were not hurt at all, but your bicycle scratched up her car, and she had a counterclaim that your bicycle scratched her car. I would dismiss your lawsuit and grant her counterclaim because the accident was your fault. The fact that you were hurt is sad, but irrelevant to the fact that the accident was your fault. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. You now know, and the attorney that you spoke to told you that California law says that you must drive in the direction of traffic, and it's illegal to do so otherwise. So, and I'm sure the attorney told you that.
Yes, Your Honor, and I take full responsibility.
Well, if you do, then you understand that I'm dismissing your lawsuit. Just because there's an accident and somebody gets hurt, it doesn't mean that it's somebody else's fault. Now, there's no question, Miss Mincher, that you should have given her your insurance information, because that's up to other people to make a judgment like I'm doing today. Did you have insurance on your car?
I did, yes.
In October of 2018?
Yes. At the time, it was a 1995, let's see. It was a 1995 Buick. It was a white vehicle. I'm not too sure what model it is.
Okay, Miss Mincher. The plaintiff tells me, true or not, that she tried to make eye contact with you. Did you see her riding the bike?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you go to work the next day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you use the same bicycle that you had used the day before?
No, Your Honor. Ever since that accident, I've never touched my bike again.
And later today,
I want to know where June's rent was.
Where June's rent was?
Yeah, you were supposed to pay $350 for June. Why didn't you pay it?
bicyclist Kalinda Watts says she was injured after motorist Alyssa Mincher collided with her when Alyssa pulled out of a driveway.
Now, the plaintiff tells me, true or not, that she tried to make eye contact with you. Did you see her riding the bike?
No.
In the opposite direction of traffic?
I did not see her.
Before the accident occurred?
I did not see her.
Did you continue to your job that day?
No, Your Honor. I asked the supervisor at the time to come pick me up, and she took me home.
Did you go to work the next day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And did you use the same bicycle that you had used the day before?
No, Your Honor. Ever since that accident, I've never touched my bike again.
How did you get to your job?
I started taking the local bus.
Smart. Where is the bicycle? Where was it in October, November? Did you sell it? Give it away?
No, Your Honor. I had left it parked at the apartment complex that I lived in at that time.
You left it there, and you moved and left it there?
Yes, but I ended up getting rid of it, yes, Your Honor. I didn't sell it.
How did you get rid of it?
Selling it for parts. I needed the finances, dealing with my own financial problems. So I just gave certain parts away. The tires, they were already flat from the accident, so I just threw what I could away that was left over.
Okay. All right. Fine. Ms. Watts, I'm glad I could finally give you a little bit of closure. I know that you probably had a little bit of it through your attorney. No, you have the paralegal here. I don't need the paralegal. It's clear that not every accident that has an injury results in an award of damages. There has to be a demonstration that the person who was the cause of that accident. In this case, she was not hurt. But I'm glad you're better and moved on. So your case is dismissed and we're finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Well, I take full responsibility of my actions.
All I remember from it was I was about to turn. I saw a flash in front of me.
Yes, I did go to the hospital.
And I stopped immediately, and I know that it was her fault, but I felt really bad.
I've dealt with depression, anxiety, PTSD from that. I went to counseling for a whole year just trying to process that.
I immediately went out to try and help her up, and then she told me to get back into the parking lot, and I did so and continued to try and help her out.
Still haven't ridden a bike after that, so it's still, a huge impact.
I'm glad that we've gotten closure and I don't have to deal with this anymore. It's been 2 years.
I take full responsibility of my actions, so, getting a resolution and just being able to have an understanding of, what went down. I'm just honored to even be here, so.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Keffer versus Aragon, step forward.
24-year-old Jenny Keffer is suing her former roommate, 25-year-old Amber Aragon, for unpaid rent after she broke their lease and moved in with her boyfriend.
All right, Miss Aragon, I'm going to start. You had a lease on the apartment. It was just the two of you on the lease. So far, is that correct?
Yes.
And when did you sign that lease?
I think it was the end of December.
2012?
Yes, I believe so.
Don't ask me. It's not a question. When did you sign the lease?
January 1st, 2013.
And it was a one-year lease?
No, it was a 6-month lease.
When did you move out?
May 20th.
So you moved out prior to the termination of the lease because, according to you, you couldn't afford to pay the rent anymore.
Yes.
Ms. Keffler was able to find somebody for the month of June to come in. She says that the person who she found to come in was prepared to pick up a portion of your rent for the month of June. So she was trying to limit your liability. And what she wants from you is your portion of the rent that was not covered by this roommate that she found on a short-term lease, which was $350, and a $50 late fee, because she said that you were really supposed to pay that rent to the rental office. You didn't, so she had to pay $400. Can I see the check for $400?
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to say to me, Miss Aragon?
Yes, I had every intention of paying the $350, but Jenny was withholding a workers' comp check. I was involved in a bad car accident on April 30th. I did because of the car accident.
I heard that you were having financial difficulties. You still owe the $350.
Exactly.
By the way, the check here is just for $350, not a $50 late fee, so it's $350.
Exactly.
So did you move out?
I moved out on May 20th.
Did you pay the $350?
I did not, because she was withholding my workers' comp check. I had no money. I had
Just a second. How could she be withholding it if you moved out in May?
Well, I have that it was issued June 13th, and then it had to be reissued again because I had to put a void on the check. So.
I want to know where June's rent was.
Where June's rent was?
Yeah, you were supposed to pay $350 for June. Why didn't you pay it?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why are you still living there?
The new roommate and I renewed our lease.
Then you owe her the security deposit.
She forfeited it.
No, she didn't. No, dear. You are incorrect.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jenny Keffer says her ex-roommate, Amber Aragon, broke their lease. Amber is countersuing for the return of her security deposit.
Now, Miss Aragon, did you pay the $350?
I did not, because she was withholding my workers' comp check.
Your workman's comp check wasn't issued until June 13th. Rent is due the 1st of the month. And that's the reason why you didn't pay on the 1st of June the $350.
Because I didn't have the financial means.
That's the answer. It's not because she was withholding your mail,
But
because the check wasn't issued until after the rent was due, right?
I understand, yes.
Okay, so that's part of your counterclaim. But the reason you didn't pay her is not because she was withholding your mail. The reason you didn't pay her is because you say you didn't have the money, right?
Well, because she was withholding the check. It was just reissued after the fact.
On what date did she say, I'm withholding your check until you pay me my money?
Can I?
Look, give me the date.
On June 8th.
That's the 8th. And when is rent due?
On the 1st.
On the 1st. So you didn't pay June's rent.
But
you skipped out on June's rent. And when you skipped out on June's rent, where did you go?
I went to...
Where did you go to live?
At my boyfriend's
Right.
apartment.
You went to live with your boyfriend. So you owe her $350. Now, the only issue that I have with you actually, her counterclaim, the rest of the stuff is nonsense. Does she have a security deposit with you?
Well, it rolled over. She forfeited the security deposit when she signed her name off the lease.
Do you have a piece of paper saying that she forfeited her security deposit when she signed her name off the lease?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
This is her signing her name off the lease.
I just want... It says the security deposit will be retained by the landlord until possession of the property is returned to the landlord. Have you done that?
No, I still live there.
Still live there?
So I didn't get any security deposit back.
Just a second. When was your lease up?
July 1st.
Well, why are you still living there?
Because the new roommate and I renewed our lease.
Then you owe her the security deposit.
She forfeited it when
No, she didn't. No, dear. You are incorrect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Real Cases, Real People. Judge Judy. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, just because you and your new roommate decided to stay on in the premises, her obligation under that lease would have terminated automatically. So you have to return her security deposit. How much did she put into the security deposit?
It was $580, and we split it. And then there's a $120 cleaning fee that the apartment automatically takes out when the lease is up. So 580 minus 120 is 460.
No. You're going to get it back. Keep the apartment nice and clean. Anything else?
There's nothing as far as regarding the fact that she was withholding my check, and I was late on bills and everything like that because she was withholding my workers' comp check.
When did you finally get the check?
It was issued on June 13th. It came probably like 3 or 4 days after that.
So you got it within 3 days?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that much trouble because you were living with your boyfriend, right?
Well, I still have to pay rent with my boyfriend.
How much rent did you have to pay with your boyfriend?
I had to pay $500.
I don't believe anything. You owe her $100. That's all. Thank you.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I guarantee you, he thinks he's God's gift.
Charmed out of her money?
You gave him a credit card, then you gave him another card. That's not smart.
My bad.
Judge Judy.
I don't agree with the fact that I have to give her security deposit back because we never even discussed it.
I don't think that she was necessarily telling the complete truth.
I did her a favor and I found someone to take over her half of the rent, and she still couldn't afford to pay it.
I couldn't afford it because I got in a car accident. I didn't know exactly what my financial...
Craigslist, but